And welcome on in. It actually is set up properly.
It's been a little while since we used this scene.
I know.
Good thing.
I know. Welcome on in. I'm MTG Solid. Our guest tonight, Gal416.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'll have you any night.
Always a thing to look forward to.
Where's Nick when you need him?
Oh God, please don't. If that happens, we're gonna know what's gonna be filling the chat.
All right. So, Gal, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm feeling quite tired after a long day at work and everything, home and everything. But I have to say, I'm in good spirits.
That's good. Too many chicken nuggets.
Oh, chicken nuggets. Now that's the dinner of champions right there. I could go for that any night. Chicken nuggets? Where? Tell me.
Okay. Well, let's start with the usual first question. Which nuggets do you prefer?
Wow.
Like,
Um, like what? Like where I go for like the
wh-
best kind of nuggets?
where would you go? Where, like,
Wow. Well, I mean, I'd say like when it comes to nuggets, the best I've ever had was this place a long time ago. We're talking 20 years ago, and I still remember it. So that shows how much it made an impact on my mind. That even as after all the years that I haven't had it. When I used to live up north, we had this place called Roy Rogers that used to be in our neighborhood, and they had really good chicken nuggets that I used to get every time as a kid. I remember go there. Eventually, unfortunately, they were replaced by Wendy's before we left. So we didn't really have any, for years, and then we left New York and came down to Florida, and they didn't have any Roy Rogers down here that we could enjoy or anything like that. But to me, that was the place that we had. There was also another place that we had in the Museum of Natural History in New York that when you entered from the subway, I don't even know if they still have it, but they had this like little eatery that you got off on the underground level that had this place that had the best chicken nuggets shaped like dinosaurs. Like those were killer chicken nuggets. Like you want to talk like I probably was more excited for those than the actual museum. That's how great they were. I was telling my dad the other day about that. He's like, "Wow, you still remember that?" I'm like, "Yeah, that shows how what a letter those nuggets were. That every time I was going on that subway to get to that museum, I was like, those nuggets, man."
that's amazing. I mean, chicken nuggets, you think little round things, but why do they always do dinosaur shapes?
I don't know. I think it's just like something about the I mean, I guess they're meant for kids, usually. I still enjoy chicken nuggets, like if I see that they're shaped like that, but I guess it's just because they know like kids really like dinosaurs. So they're just like, hey, here are these you love chicken nuggets, you love dinosaurs. Let's it's like Reese's peanut butter cups. Like we need to have this kind of thing going on or what have you, and I guess that's where it came from or whatever. But it's just funny that a museum would be like the one to jump on that and be like, yeah, this is what we want, there and everything. Again, I mean, it's been years. I don't know if that eatery is still there anymore. But yeah. So I mean, if you were saying like what were the best nuggets I've ever had in my 35 years of life, it's those two places, Roy Rogers and the Museum of Natural History, uh,
Mm-mm-mm.
underground level there. And everyone's gonna be like, "Wow, so specific." I'm like, "Yeah,
Well, gotta be specific.
yep,
That way, if anybody's in that neighborhood still, they can tell you, I went, I tried it, it's still there. If not,
yep,
I went and looked for it and you fucking suck because I wanted some, but it's not there.
yeah." Or they'll be like, "God, I don't know what you were talking about, gal. I went to that place and they were no big deal. What you sold me a bill of goods, gal?" And they won't think so about it because I mean everything's larger when you're a kid,
Phrasing.
you know. See, Matt gets it. See,
I, I think he's talking about the joint.
Well, maybe he is. I don't know, but but hey, I'm going with it. Hey, Fox. Hey, Dark.
So let's get to the main topic while you're here. Cheesy chicken nuggets.
Ooh, wow. Now we're going up by like a factor of 10. Jeez, weren't the chicken nuggets enough? Now we're throwing cheese in there. Jeez.
All right. Real thing. I'm sure people want to know. All right,
Yes.
you just released a new set,
Yeah, I definitely did.
and
Several months in the making.
Chrono Trigger, obviously one of your favorite games you've stated quite some time.
Yes.
First question, why the PlayStation version?
Well, I mean, first off, of course, I mean the get out of jail answer, I guess, first could be, I mean, it was the only one that was left on RA that I could work on. The Super Nintendo one was released, I think, in 2014, 2015, I think. Um, on RA, a lot of the good games really had their sets released first. The Super Metroids, the Link to the Pasts, the Chrono Triggers. When people were making achievement sets, how surprising that they went for the more popular ones first. And then later on, we're still having the stragglers that are still to this day like, wow, this game doesn't have a set yet, going on and everything like that people say. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, it was very much that they jumped on those sets and everything. So Chrono Trigger definitely for the Super Nintendo was one of the first ones that they came out with. And then couple of years ago, they came out with the DS one. And they made a set for that one. So by the time, yours truly got around to, making achievements now, the only Chrono Trigger set that was left was the PlayStation one. So, even though obviously that version is very infamous to a lot of people, and I'm sure we'll get into the conversation of why that's the case about this particular port of Chrono Trigger, it was still Chrono Trigger to me. So, I still thought, wow, I mean, the possibility of being able to work on a set for one of the more influential RPGs that even game developers today making things like Sea of Stars are inspired by the game and call it as being one of the big pushes for why they were making the game, to the point that the composer they hired to compose tracks for the game was Yoshinori Mitsuda from Chrono Trigger. They hired him to make songs for Sea of Stars and everything. I mean, to work on that, like, man, that was an honor to be able to do that and everything. So obviously, I mean, how long it took wasn't just that and everything. I mean, there were other reasons, why development took as it did, but a big part of it was also, I really want to make sure that the things I come up with, are, I really give it some time and really, really think about it and everything. And so, yeah, I mean, it's partly because it was the only achievement set that would be able to be worked on for it, but also, hey, it's Chrono Trigger for me. For me, it was wonderful to learn about the game in different ways and really look behind the curtain and really see like kind of the ways in which the memory was and how all of that could fit together to make good achievements.
Most
I
time
mean,
when
hopefully.
people look behind the curtain, it's usually see a nude girl. But you
Yeah,
look behind the curtain to look at numbers.
yeah, I
So
know,
gotta
right?
respect that, I guess.
I'm that kind of weird person.
Right.
Most people don't would think math isn't the thing to really look forward to. Numbers.
And so you put okay, I know the story. You became a dev, and the first game you wanted to do, I think, was Metroid Classic version.
Yeah,
But you also
I
wanted to do this, but it was already claimed, was it
yeah.
not?
One of the things that I was doing was, as I forget what I was working on at the time when this game was first claimed, um, or first on. I don't know if I was working on Metroid GBA and I was just finishing up, or I was working on Eternal Blue at the time. Which, let me tell you, I had a lot of fun with that one and really, learning that game inside and out. and everything. And that ended up being the game that that I graduated on to become a full dev was Eternal Blue. But while I was working on that, um, I think Chrono Trigger was claimed by another junior dev at the time, and they were working on it. And they said, and that was going on for a number of months. And I would just keep, kind of eyeballing, seeing, what was going on and everything. And just hold on a minute. I just see a certain Pokemon show up somewhere, and I have to jump on something. Moment, duty calls. I'm sure I'm not going to catch anything, but no, I didn't type it right because I'm silly. You see, this is what happens when you're tired. Don't get tired, kids. It's not a good thing going on. So anyway, getting back to the point. So I would just poke in, see what's going on, and then eventually, around the beginning of the year, I think it was sometime in January. Um, I saw that it was basically running out. Like it was going to be free to be claimed, and but before I could claim it, another dev actually jumped in and claimed it, and I was like, obviously, like, wow, well, because that's my luck. You wait, enough times, and someone, it's the luck of the draw and everything. But I'm the kind of person though that I'm not someone who gets upset if someone claims it, because I always say it. If I'm lucky enough to claim something, I will do it. But like, we all like the games that are part of the dev community. We all love the games. We all are into it and everything. So I know, regardless of who, you see, for once I catch something. Um, uh, I was just happy to do it. But I reached out to the dev and I said, hey, do you want to collab? Maybe on it. I have some ideas for achievements that I wanted to do, and maybe we can share responsibilities and do stuff. And to their credit, they were like, yes, absolutely. And I signed on to collab, and we were ready to start and everything. And then about a week later, I think, I get a message from the dev saying, look, I really want to work on this other game. Do you want to be open to claiming the game yourself? And I was like, sure. I'm not going to complain about that or anything, but I said, but I'll still reach out to you, because I still think it's something that I know you really like this game too. Again, he was a big Chrono Trigger fan too. And, I told him, and I kept my word. I said, I'm still going to ask you for badges because I know, because your art is impeccable. And, I want that work because I'm not a great artist at all. Like, when it comes to it, I just take a screenshot and I throw it, I throw it in, paint, and
we all remember
do the little thing, and then, do whatever.
We all remember.
I'm not really that great at it. So I was like, hey, I think that would be wonderful. So, I went to, and then that's when I began working on the set.
So the set became about a year-long work.
Yeah, like several months at this point. I think I picked it up in what, like February or late January or sometime.
Something like
So
that.
yeah, it's been a good 9 months. It's almost like I gave birth. It's my baby. Yeah, it's my baby. Like, technically, like in a figurative sense.
And it's a big baby. 141 achievements.
Yeah.
So,
141. Well, technically 144, because there was a few achievements I left it unofficial because when I was testing it and I was seeing how certain things unlocked or whatever, I felt like for most players, you were going to get like a whole bunch of achievements like back to back to back. And I was just like, you know what? This would probably be better just having an overall achievement for this rather than always having it that 99.9% of the time when players are playing through the game, they're literally going to get all of those achievements like back to back, like right next to each other. And I was like, I think one is fine here. So it technically is 144, I guess, but 141 official.
So the very first achievement, I got a question.
Yes.
Can you rename it?
Which one are we talking about? The very top?
Yeah, a 10-year allowance from your from mom.
Behave yourself today.
Do we change it to Ryan's mom? Ryan's mom's a giver, something like that.
Oh, oh man. Well, I mean, technically, I mean, there's not. I mean, I think the only big thing with like names or whatever is to not have anything that's like really obscene or really ridiculous anyway. I mean, I guess technically I could do it. It's just, the reason I named it Behave Yourself today was because of a reference to, I mean, that's the line that his mother says when you're waking up from the bed at the beginning of the game. And I think it's really, I always love the line because in a certain indirect sense, the game is kind of telling you what you should do at the fair without coming right out and telling you, I want you to behave yourself today. And yet at the time when you're playing, you don't really pick it up. It's really innocuous, like whatever. But that ends up being a big deal later. I mean, spoilers, there's a time in the game where that kind of behavior at the fair is going to mean something for those of you who haven't played Chrono Trigger. I know the few people out there, maybe, well, maybe, I mean, there are people who haven't.
Yeah, there
Um,
are.
and for those of that haven't, you won't pick up on it. But playing it many times as I've played the game, it's funny that they threw that line in there. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it for you, Paul. So I just want to say like that line really means something, and you'll realize it when you get to a certain point in the game, what that means. And so that's why I put that as the name of the achievement. But to your question, I will definitely consider it.
How about
But I know that 99.9% of people on the site are not going to know what the hell that even
how
means.
about laid back with the allowance?
Or laid back with a bidet. I
So
mean, I'll consider it. I'll consider
Paul wants
it.
to know what is a game you wish you could re-experience for the first time now that you're an adult. I know this answer. I know this answer.
Wow. Um,
So let's go.
that's funny. There's two different games from two different angles that I could answer. Well, yeah, Lunar is one of them.
But
Eternal Blue for sure, because that was my introduction to JRPGs from my uncle. Like, that was probably the one game that really showed me how much games could be so much more than just, pressing the button to win and, getting to the end or whatever. You felt something. You were really invested in the characters and you were really there. And Lunar definitely is there. And of course, my name is Gal416. I mean, look at my avatar. I mean, I don't think anyone has to be really surprised how much that game has influenced me in such a big way when it comes to video games in such a way. But I think another game that I have to say, because it was the first video game I ever played, period. Like, end of story. And I think everyone knows what this one is. I mean, those that know me, Super Metroid. I mean, that game, God, playing that game for the first time and being lost in a world and having to learn where you are on the planet and going around and everything, there was just such a, I can't describe it. It was such an interesting feeling as a kid because everything, again, I always say as a kid, everything seems so much larger than what it is as you're an adult. And that's why I think it's difficult to really get invested in games as much as it was as a kid, because as a kid, you really don't have a lot of experiences. You really don't have anything about it. So these games, you kind of take on and you kind of absorb the world that they really have and everything. That's why when I played Final Fantasy VII for the first time, and again, I said this when we were sitting down, Paul, and we were talking with you about it. I mean, that experience when you leave Midgar for the first time, still ranks. I mean, I wish I could experience that again because that was such a profound experience to all the game that you have, and then at that point you realize how small the game really was up to that point. That you really didn't play much of anything. the world, that everything is that way. And you see, so it's a complicated answer for me. There's so many different games that I've experienced as a kid like that it's kind of a shame that, and that's why when friends, come up to me and tell me, I haven't played this game yet and I haven't done this. In a way, I'm kind of envious because I'm kind of like, oh my God, um, you haven't played it again. God, I wish I could be in that situation. But, it is what it is. You only get to experience those kind of moments once, and you treasure them for that reason.
Oh, we got the squirt gun here.
God, Frank.
All right, I got it side by side. You won't be able to see it on this end, on your end. So I got to my left Gala set, to my right the Super Nintendo set, and the difference is you got win a race, racing bet at the carnival, but win a bet at at the race. A little bit more rewarding. Get a reward for being enthusiastic of learning the mechanics of the game.
Yep.
That's different.
Well, the thing with it is that I kind of did a combination of different things. I did certain challenges differently, but I also had other things where I kind of used achievements to sort of draw attention to other things in the game that a player could easily miss. They might not see them, they might not see certain scenes or certain events that are going on in that way. And so, I kind of brought attention to those elements as well. Because for me, achievements aren't so much just about a challenge. Of course, you have those achievements, the ones that are, really challenging you to do certain battles or do certain things in the game and how you do it. But I think another part of achievements that can be fun is to draw attention to those things in the game that you miss or you might not know are there. And of course, they can be hit or miss. They can be really small things like, again, the thing you said of finding, the teacher that gives you a reward because you went by the den to check out the mechanics of the game and everything, and they give you, money or they give you an item or something like that. And then there are other times where you run into certain characters or certain things where certain scenes happen, like actual story scenes that you could easily miss because you don't go by that area at all. Like, why would you ever stop by the castle at that point in the game? Or why would you ever, go to the merchant market in this town ever there? You probably don't even go by that town anymore by that point in the game, or, things like that. And so for me, um, you know, it really serves largely that purpose. And some of them also serve a purpose because sometimes they make you go through a dungeon at an earlier point than you would normally do. Like, you have a choice of whether you go down a certain path or not. And so I don't go out of it saying, hey, go through this dungeon at this particular point. I say, hey, go by and catch this scene, because you would only catch that scene if you were going through that dungeon earlier than you might at a certain time, with where the plot is taking you.
And choice awards here. Your achievement beer run.
Oh.
You chose the word, instead of drink or chug, chose the word guzzle. Guzzle all 8 cans of soda in the guzzling minigame. Were you trying to get Nick all hot and bothered? That one.
I mean, don't I always end up doing that regardless of what I do, though? I mean, like, even if I used a different term, I think he would still be doing the same thing.
I'm sure if you came in and said, I farted today, you probably would have been like, can I sniff it?
You see? I mean, no, I didn't really do it for that reason. I was just, honestly, I think I just wrote that, honestly, one time. I didn't really think too deeply of it, but the funny thing is that I could have sworn around soda I put like quotations, because it's like, we all know it's not soda.
Nope. There's no quotations on this one.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I guess I forgot.
I think you called it beer run to after Frank, right?
I mean, you said it. Where do you think I got it? BEERRUN, beer run.
Okay. It all looks pretty much legit. Same kind of.
I mean, a lot of things are going to carry over because, I mean, it's the same game, but there are going to be different elements that are drawn attention to that are not in the same way.
I can't pull up the third set for it, but
well, the DS set also has a different setup with a lot of them. I think they're structured differently, and you actually have a lot more level caps. I only have like a few. that are level capped in the set. The DS version is much more, on top of you can't level up,
Right.
on there. So
Um, so I mean, obviously, you had to make it different
yeah,
and kind of the
and
same, but
absolutely.
how challenging was it to come up with like some of these achievements? Like, what can I do differently?
I mean, I kind of went back and forth in certain ways because at first, like one thing I tried to do with certain achievements was, do this without this move. Like that's kind of where I angled with first on a few of them, and you'll see that like with a few of them, you'll see like beating a boss without using slash or doing this. Like one of the first things I was going with was kind of like looking for boss fights that maybe you didn't use the thing that you were like, oh, everybody uses this attack when you go and you face this boss. So it's like, hey, let me go it from a different angle. And I mean, sometimes that worked, and other times when I would test the achievements, like they would become really kind of annoying to do more so. Like they kind of became more tedious more than like they were a challenge more so. Like for instance, like one boss I did like later on, one of the mutants I think you fight in the Black Omen. Um, one of the early versions of the achievements was beat this part of the boss before this one because everybody does it the other way. So I was like, do it the other way where you're doing the bottom part before you face the top. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Um, and it turned out that became really really difficult because not only the thing is that the bottom part of the boss is very resistant to physical attacks and absorbs magic. So there's not really much that you could do on the boss. Like most of the damage that was done to the boss was by the boss itself.
Okay.
And so it kind of ended up becoming a war of attrition where you kind of sit there letting the boss beat itself over and over and over again, taking more HP down. And then at the final part, hopefully getting a hit in. And I was just kind of like, yeah, that sucks. I don't really like that because an achievement should always be that you're choosing things. It shouldn't be that you're like sitting around waiting for something to happen. And so I ended up changing that one to just being what is it? Just beating let me see here just to see like where I changed that a little bit here. I think I ended up changing that more to just using one target damaging single text and no haste and just doing that. And that actually was slightly a challenge because you have to actually try to do more damage than the boss is healing itself. And sometimes the boss will be a jerk and like to heal itself a couple of more times more than usual by absorbing health from its other parts. So it becomes kind of, you have to kind of think of your moves and you have to really, set yourself up in a way where you're able to do the maximum amount of damage before it is. I mean, it's not really a challenging achievement. It's not impossible or anything like that. As you see, it's not really worth a heck of a lot, but it's better because it involves the player actually doing things.
There's a lot RA doesn't give a lot of points for, so
Well, I mean, yeah, that I mean, I'm not gonna contest you on that, at all. We've had conversations
yeah.
about that before in there, but I mean, at least for that, I don't think it's really impossible. So I think 5 was really fair to that because really, I mean, more often than not, by the time you get to the Black Omen, you're probably going to be pretty well gifted with techs and stuff like that on the single tech level. So that really, I don't think it's really going to be that impossible, even if you're not using haste or not having the haste helm on. I think you're still going to be able to do pretty good damage
So
to outpace its healing whenever it does that. I mean, at least you should.
with a Dim Bones achievement, defeat
Yes.
Zombor before Chrono learns True Magic, Double Elemental, Tex. Now you have Robo in party. Does that mean Robo is in the party or not in the party?
Yeah, Robo would be in the party.
Okay.
Yes.
And
The
no
before
character
is just
deaths.
about no character rest. The before is about the double elemental
Okay.
text, and basically what that means, because I think someone left a comment about it that they were not really sure what true magic really meant. For the characters that learn magic, like Chrono, Marl, and Luca, and Frog, and Magus. Well, not so much Magus, because by the time you bring him to Specchio, it's kind of whatever. He's kind of like, you should be teaching me magic. The thing is that there's certain spells you won't learn until Specchio talks to you. So true magic is more of like in line, like, early on you learn Fire Whirl and other techs with Chrono and Luca and stuff, but they're not really tied to like fire or ice or any of those. I always refer to true magic as those spells that you get when Specchio bestows that upon you, that now you can learn these other abilities that you couldn't do with it. That happens with those magic users. Now with the non-magic users like Robo, because Robo doesn't really learn magic, he has moves that do shadow damage, but he really doesn't learn magic. He just keeps learning whatever it is. It just means that for him, you just don't learn enough. You don't get enough tech points that he'll learn, one of those double elemental techs that he can do with Chrono. I think the first one that he can learn is Max Cyclone. So you kind of want to get to Zombor with Robo before you learn Max Cyclone. Is the thing, which isn't really that difficult because there's really not too many fights between when you get Robo like after the factory. If you're not, as long as you're not loitering around fighting a bunch of battles, I don't think that's really that impossible to do, because I don't think I usually get Max Cyclone for a while after I get over the bridge fighting. So that's at least me. But
The Fiery View. That one looks kind of actually tough.
oh, the
Defeat Sun in the Sun with party of Chrono, Ayla, and Magus. No fire absorbing armor.
the key is reading that phrase closely. Fire absorbing armor. You can't wear that.
That's
all I'm going to say.
Okay.
But let me tell you, sometimes it's not what the achievement says, it's what it doesn't say.
And Hidden Treasure in Ozzy's for, not a lot of typical RPG stuff.
Yeah. It's nothing, let me tell you, nothing that I ever put in achievement set is ever something that is impossible. If it was impossible, I wouldn't put it in there. Because I myself tested all of them. I just want to let you know. I tested every single one of them. I looked at how they were working. I saw how every single one ticked, and yours truly put myself in the lion's den to test some of those achievements. And let me tell you, there are some achievements in there that there's one farther down that you haven't gotten to yet. That's the doozy. That I think is the one of the set.
I'm just looking through them slowly, but
No, we'll get there.
Fox says he sees you left a bike race out.
No, the bike race is in there. It's just not like completely like what the one in the SNES was.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually one that's more manageable. Because it's possible that you can probably get that score just from a good run.
Start a new run with New Game Plus. That's all at the end. Do
Yeah, that's at the very-
9,099. Learn single, double, experience, triple tech. What the fuck's going on?
Well, what happened?
Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was wondering, did something happen?
Getting techs.
Ah. Yeah, we have all the techs. Learn all those.
Collect all treasures from the game. Oh my god, you collect all treasure?
Yeah, but they have different ones according to different periods. You knew it was going to be in there.
For fuck's sake, gal.
But there's maps and everything. Believe me, I didn't just pick any old, like, random shit everywhere.
See this? I already don't like Chrono Trigger. This one's going to be staying off that pole.
Hey, you got a friend in a dev for it. Chances are it's
my password's 1234.
And then we have all the Specchio fights.
Yeah. Collect all treasure 1080, 680, chests and tabs. Like all,
Not just. Don't worry about tabs that you learn from you get from fights. It's the tabs that you find in the world, and you have maps. There's literally a website with Chrono Trigger maps that will tell you where all the tabs are.
defeat New Specchio, no New Game Plus, no Green Dream, no Lifeline.
Okay, no Green Dream or Lifeline. Okay, there's probably a question. What are those? There's an item that you get from one of the side quests when that involves Luca. I won't go into detail, of course, of what that side quest is, but one thing that you get out of that is an item called the Green Dream. And the Green Dream, what it is it's a one-time re-raise in a fight. Basically, you give that to someone, and if they die, they will re-raise once for it. But there's also a funny little thing of a manipulation glitch that can happen using the Green Dream. If you die at a certain point and RNG works out your way, and you happen to have it that someone re-raises and none of the other party members are alive, you can go in your item menu and you can use items on the enemies when normally you're not supposed to do that. And if you happen to have an elixir in your inventory, and you happen to be against a really bad, tough boss with a lot of HP, and you throw an elixir at it, and it overflows the boss's HP, you win. One hit kill.
And I mean, obviously, I see. Did you add all the different endings?
Yeah, there's all the endings are accounted for an achievement. There was one other one earlier on for losing to Lavos. But I changed that to being that instead of dying, because the SNES has one of those. It has like a 10-point achievement for losing to Lavos because you get an ending for doing that. And it's worth 10 points, but literally it's just you dying. Like you literally just have to die.
That's
you don't
like
do anything.
Yeah, that should be like a 1 point.
Yeah, right? Now that you mention it, I was going to bring that up at one point because I was like 10 points for it because you literally just have to die. Well, instead of doing that, if you go up closer to the beginning, you'll see an achievement called "In the End, the Future Refused to Change." That's what's read when you get to the final screen of that bad ending. And it says, after reaching the end of time, but before entering Medina Village, get to at least the Nizabel. That's a little back thing of this. Some fights that you have with Lavos, the final boss, there's a little preliminary fight that you have with him where he enters battle mode, and he mimics like different bosses that you fought throughout the game. And one of them is called Nizabel.
You have it as 10 points?
Well, because, I mean, it's not impossible, but I think it's a little challenging.
The only challenging thing about it is reaching him, and if you didn't know anything about it.
Well, funny enough, the big thing is if you know how those different bosses work, you can actually get through those bosses pretty well. I've done it actually. Each time I tested it, I was like at level 8 or 9, and I got through those fights pretty well, consistently. The one big thing, of course, that you want to do is use your items. Some people are like, I don't want to use items. No, use them. I mean, because you're going to be in that fight. Use the mid tonics. I mean, the game throws like a bunch of mid tonics and mid ethers and ethers at you. So, you have those, there. And
I know plenty of people that hate using items. Like, even at the end game, it's like, what? You're at the end game. You're fighting Sephiroth, for God's sake.
Yeah, no, you're not going to hold on to that elixir anymore, okay? I think it's safe to use it. And to me, I thought that was better than just dying to Lavos. I thought it was better to make a challenge. Like, see how long you can last in the fight before you die. Because the way I see it is, I don't think anyone could survive against Nizbel at that low of a level. Because when he shoots out his lightning that he stores, it does a whole lot of damage, and it can kill you like one-hit kill. I mean, if you find some way to get through Nizbel, share that video, anybody out there, because I really want to see it, because I don't think it's possible. So I think that's really like the limit that you can really get to at that point as a level 8 or 9, or even 10 or 11 party at that point in the game in there. But the bosses before that, that he mimics. They all have usually things that you can manipulate and that you can know about them, and you can do things that mostly you can. I mean, there'll be times where you'll have to heal and you'll have to watch your health, but for the most part, there are things that you can do to really tip the balance in your favor. Nizbel, not really so much. I mean, you could use the tactic. I know what tactic you have to do damage to it, but eventually, again, you use lightning, and then it shoots it at you, and then it does like 200 damage or something. And at that point, you have like 150 health, mostly from Chrono or something. So, yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna last that. But hey, prove me wrong. Ooh,
I know.
God, what's going on with these Pokemon? Um,
You missed all the Gen 1s today. This morning.
yeah, well, oh, damn it, I don't own, I don't own that ball. I don't own it. Hold on, hold on. I have money. I have money. I can do this. Or it won't let me. Why is it not letting me? I thought Poke Shop was the one. Is that the ones he used? It's not.
It should be.
It
It
didn't. Huh.
it was acting weird this morning. It was.
Let me do it again.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Got it also.
There we go. That was weird.
Maybe it's 16. Yeah, it was running slow this morning also. Gotta hurry up before it disappears.
There we go. Okay. If it does it, it does it. If it doesn't, whatever. So getting back to it, I just thought that would be a better achievement than just dying. So that was another. Technically, that's the one ending achievement that has more. There's another one that involves an ending that's further down. That's near the bottom where all the endings are. That I feel personally, and I don't think there's much contesting to it. I think people will agree. There's an achievement down there that's a level cap one that I think probably is going to be the achievement of the set. If you were to ask me like what I think the achievement of the set is, like the one difficult one, that's the one that
Is
I would
it
pitch.
level 96?
No,
Or
that one. I mean, that one will be more challenging than it was in the Super Nintendo one. But
Lavos alone? Chrono?
no, I mean, people will probably look at that and think that's difficult because you're using what is it? You're using only Chrono. But at that point in time, you have certain abilities available to you and equipment and stuff. I don't think that's really going to be too difficult for people. That's why I only kept it at 10 instead of like 25 or something like that. Because I think at that point, like a level 60 Chrono.
Is it the photo finish?
Yes.
Okay.
Read that.
Defeat Ocean Palace Lavos and reach the Dream Team in a regular new game.
Now, you know the Lavos that you fight in the Ocean Palace that usually I don't know if you've well, let me ask you. Have you played Chrono Trigger deeply to know this?
Not deeply.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
That was my first place. That was my first playthrough when I had you in the Infamous on.
Yeah, but there's okay. And you finished it though, didn't you? I think you finished
Well,
it.
I think we finished it. Like
yeah.
One of the endings.
So there is a fight that's considered, at least in the terms of the story, the part where you're supposed to lose to Lavos. And other things happen and everything. I'm not going to give away the plot, what happens afterwards or what have you. But it turns out if you prepare your characters well and you do, maybe a side quest or so early, because there's certain side quests you might not know you have access to at that point in the game, that when you go through it, you can get access to certain items that can help you with certain status effects and stuff like that. You can actually beat Lavos at that time. And when you do that, you can get to the Dream Team ending, which is the ending you get when you. There's two ways you can get that ending. You can get it either at the very beginning of the game, or if you finish the game at the Ocean Palace, and those. So, I thought that would be a pretty big achievement, and let me tell you, that was a tough one. I'm not gonna lie. That took quite a bit of a preparation and really knowing your characters and really knowing how to set them up to really do the best with it. I mean, I would tell you that there are people who swear of using different combinations of characters. To me, there was really only one combination of character. Like one character I absolutely had to have in there, and because again, I don't want to spoil too much about like certain strategies or whatever, but like there's a certain ability that helps like your ability to move and get your attacks in and stuff like that I think is pretty essential for that fight. For getting through Lavos at that point, because again, you don't have all the abilities you have at endgame by that point in the game, so you have to kind of have more ingenuity to get through that fight and everything. You're going to lose party members, like some party members are going to die. Some things are going on, and you're going to have to be ready to get your spells up, get them back up, do certain things or whatever, have certain equipment on to help you. Sometimes you're going to have to hold on to those tabs. Don't be so quick to throw them all at Chrono. Really hold on to them, because you're going to want to have some other characters being able to, have their speed and their magic that they're able to pitch in and do things like that and everything. I think overall, I think that's the achievement of the set. If you're able to pull that off, mad kudos, because it's truly a photo finish. Like truly, like that, like pat yourself on the back if you get that one. That's why it's 50.
We are taking viewer questions, so but should be wrapping up here soon anyways. Congratulations on set and everything. I know you've been wanting to work on it for a long time.
Oh, dude, it's amazing. You work on a set for a while and it becomes everything, but there comes a point, and it was happening towards the end, like as I'm going through the final weeks and everything, you eventually get to a point where you're kind of like, I just want to get this out there, like, and you don't want that to take you over, of course, because you really want to test things. You really want to make sure that things are working before you really put it out there and everything. But there's this real drive that after you've worked on it for so long and you've put so much time on something, you really want to finish it and get it done. To quote Frank, in a way, you just want to, put that stamp on it and put it out there to it. Because, you're like, well, I was making this so other people can play it. If other people are not playing it yet, then, it's kind of, it's not doing what it's supposed to. So I can definitely say, like, it's not that I have anything against Chrono Trigger or anything about that, but I'm glad that it's done. I'm happy it's out there in the ether.
Fox wants to know if Saga Frontier is next.
Wasn't someone working on that? I could have sworn that someone selected one of the Saga Frontiers. I forget which one it was, but I could have sworn that someone had selected one of them. Let me see if I can find that right now. Hold on just a moment. Oh, no, Saga Frontier doesn't have it. It's probably one of the romancing sagas that has it probably. Honestly, I haven't really thought about that. I still have 2 achievement sets that I'm working on right now. I have one of these old childhood favorite ones for the PlayStation called Monsters Incorporated Scare Island. I was doing stuff to add a finishing the game achievement, because it doesn't really have something where you complete everything. It just has a bunch of stuff with there. So I'm doing that to get that kind of thing for a badge, for an event badge on the site. And then I have a revision I still have to do for Shining the Holy Ark. I still have to get back and finish that.
I'm sitting here trying to think, what the fuck's Monster Incorporated?
Oh, wait, Monster Inc. Sorry. See, I'm tired. I'm
thinking Kids Incorporated.
well, it is technically incorporated, but they say Monsters Inc. It's really, bear with me, Solid. I'm tired, okay? I'm lucky I'm forming sentences right now. So I'm working on that, and I also have Shining the Holy Ark that I'm working on for a revision to spruce up that set, because that set could use a lot more, involved, like kind of the treatment I did for Chrono Trigger, more of like that kind of stuff for that game, because that's probably my favorite Sega Saturn game, is Shining the Holy Ark.
Any Castlevania games in the future?
Ooh, God, is there any Castlevania game that hasn't had a set yet? I mean, by this point, I think
Oh, right.
they're all well, unless we get to like some of the later games. I mean, the Wii probably is going to be a thing eventually, and the less I say about Castlevania Judgment, the better.
Ah,
Because I don't want to touch. I'm not going
ah,
to touch that game.
what about?
That's
I thought somebody was working on Lunar Silver Star story for the Saturn.
did did someone claim that? I don't know if someone did claim it, but I hope so because I don't know if I'm going to touch those ones. I mean, maybe I will sometime down the line, but I was kind of hoping someone else was going to take that on and
No
do their
active
own take on
claims.
it.
No active claim
Huh.
for that.
Uh,
There's a DS one. I don't know. But, see, I never played
oh,
any of the Lunars. So.
Dragon Song. Jeez, that one is a game. I mean, that's as much as I could say about it. I'll say it's
Then
something, but the people who made that game like seem the decisions they made in that one just like I don't know if they ever knew how to make an actual good game because goddamn, uh, that has to be rock bottom when it comes to a Lunar game and to an RPG like period for stuff like it's just someone actually claimed it I think some time ago there was someone who was going to make it and then they like dropped it and they said something to the effect of yeah, I couldn't get into this game, and I sat there reading it like no shit, because you probably went to like the first battle and you saw how they if you walk or something or did something, they keep sapping HP from you, and you're like, yeah, fuck this,
I mean, I'm looking
you
at
know.
the most requested. I mean, Final Fantasy X2 International Last Mission.
God, you really want me to work on 10-2? By the way, that's being worked on by Snow. That's already claimed. And
This doesn't say anything.
oh, really? Which one are you looking at? I don't know.
On Final
You're
Fantasy
looking at the most
10-2.
requested.
Yeah,
Let me
10-2
see.
International plus
Most.
Last Mission.
Where is most request? Ah, here we go. Most requested. If you'll help me, computer. Let me see what this looks like. Pokemon Diamond version. That's claimed by
Yep.
Payadoc. And then we have Grand Theft Auto Vice City. There's one I'm looking forward to.
Nobody's playing Gran
Um,
Turismo 3 either.
yeah, that's interesting. See, I tell you, oh, really? They don't. I guess Snow dropped it.
Yeah,
Huh.
that's what.
Well, you know what? I can't blame him that he dropped 10-2 because apparently he was trying to look into like a translation patch for it or
Oh,
some kind of thing with it, and it was absolutely ass.
how about
Quote
just doing the regular 10-2 or 10? Like,
because everything on RA is about we need to have the final mixes and the ultimate, like with like the
mm,
Final Fantasy X. It wasn't the original one that we had; it's the international version with
so
all
that's
the dark aeons and penance and everything. Even though, to be honest, I always thought that they were like additions that weren't needed. I think the original game was just fine,
right.
but what do I know? And I mean, hey, I'm saying this as someone who's played that set so much. I say this as someone who's like in the tail end where the only achievements I have left are finishing the game and doing the monster arena and the dark aeons. That's literally
I
the only thing I have left in that set, and here I am talking about it wasn't needed.
I haven't touched it in a while. I need to get back to that eventually, along
Me
with
too.
Pokemon.
Me
So,
too.
any other viewer questions? Ooh, I cannot wait till Max Payne comes out.
Ooh, Max Payne.
Odin Sphere. I remember somebody talking about that game. But I mean, other than the two that you have lined up right now, like a revision and
Yes.
stuff, like have you given it really extra thought on what to do afterwards, or maybe take a little break, a little breather for a bit?
Well, there probably will be a breather at some point that I will take for a little bit, but of course, I can't give too much away at this point. But there are certain projects coming up, let's say, that will be something that I'll be playing a hand in. One is going to be a collaboration that is going on for a game that I think is a lot of people on RA are going to very much enjoy, and is something that's very near and dear to me. If what I was talking about earlier with Super Metroid, what I'm going to be working on in the future is probably something that none of you would be surprised with when that hits the airwaves if you don't already know already.
Random Hearts
Um,
too.
and And something else that I'm going to be working
Oh
on as
shit!
well in
Snake's
there.
Revenge. I forgot. You're doing Snake's Revenge. That's all right.
Opti's like, somehow it's just like, I guess I'm glad to be everything you imagined, Opti.
Is this really your
Glad to
first
see
time
you, buddy.
hearing him? Huh.
Maybe he is. I mean, some people are surprised to hear that I have a voice. They think I'm a computer sometimes,
I mean, you sound like a robot sometimes. Yeah.
especially when I'm tired.
Uh,
Um, um, but to get to your question, I mean, honestly, there will be things I'm going to be working on, and of course, that's going to become more apparent. God damn it! Why do they
itchy.
now? They're getting all the Pokemon. Like seriously, there's
No,
tons of days that it's like a freaking dry well, and then like today is like, oh, we're gonna have all the Generation One Pokemon just popping up randomly, like hoopty kashoo.
when
You
Frank's
know?
not streaming.
Yeah, right there. There's the answer right there.
Okay.
um,
How? I just. Jesus Christ. No. The Sonic Mega Collection Plus. PS2. Did how many developers are on this one?
Mega Collection?
Sonic
Huh.
Mega Collection Plus. PS2. There's like
Where are you?
well
Where are you looking at this? Is it
the
on the most requested?
yeah. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Let me
6,
see.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 developers working on this.
Um.
I mean, I know it's a big game.
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that, man. I don't know, but
Right.
yeah, that's wow. That's a big who's who of a lot of good devs too.
Yeah.
Like wow,
That's
I don't know. Maybe it's just because of the content. They're all maybe working on a game. I don't know, but
they can
I mean
go
to
with
be
a
honest,
catch.
I know, right? At least it's working out for me. If I was like not catching them, I would be pissed off, being like, yeah, this game really hates me. Not only is it the one night where it does all this, and then I'm not catching anything. Um, but getting to it, I really don't know.
Okay.
Like if there's really a game at the moment, like where it is that I'm gonna really want to go for next with something. It's really kind of finishing what I have, and then after that, maybe I'll take a break for a little bit, and then it's gonna be like again on those projects I was telling you that are in the background. And again, all of that will be revealed in due time, assuming some of you probably already know because again things have a way of getting out there anyway. Um, and everything. But I think when that news hits and it becomes really official and it's out there, I think it's definitely going to be something that a lot of people on RA are going to be very excited about. And when you see the thing that I'm involved with, you're going to be like, oh, well, no fucking shit. Like, I saw that coming a mile away.
Fantasy Star Zero.
Jesus Christ, solid. You got me down to a book. How do you know? You
And
got me figured out.
other than that, congratulations on the set. I hope
Thank you
people
so
enjoy it.
much. I really hope that everyone takes it on and everything. I think it'll be a really good challenge, but at the same time, I think it really is really gets into the game and you're really covering like all the vantage points of how really deep the game is. It's a lot of fun and to this day I never lose that enjoyment of it. I know you don't really share my opinion on that, Solid, and I respect that because people tend to when they talk about games, they tend to get like, and this, they get like so larger than life on it that it kind of is off putting about certain things about it. But for me, I mean, it's one of those games that is always it's always a reliever game for me. It's always like a relaxing kind of game that I can put on, and I'm always going to have fun in there in that way. And I hope that through the set, players, that want that challenge, they'll find that in there.
Yeah, well, thank you once again, and everybody, don't forget this Sunday. Hopefully, we should be back with the podcast with Guten Pranken. That'd be
Ooh,
fun.
that'll be fun.
Gal shall be here.
Yep.
I don't know what he's going to be talking about. I don't know what I'm going to be talking about.
Who knows? It's gonna be, but I know it's gonna be a real fun time. It's always
It
fun with me.
always, it always is. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out, and Gav, once again, thank you. Congratulations on set.
Thank you for having
And
me on.
I will see you guys later. Have a solid night.